Hey guys, we have muscle ups again today. So to make sure that you guys aren't skipping out because it's something that's a little bit too hard, I want to show you guys several different options of what we can do instead of the just straight up muscle up. If you have them, great. Let's either go for the number of reps that we've got in Sugar WOD or in the workout, or maybe considering reducing the reps if, say, you can get them, but you don't have the volume for 10 reps. For example, in today's workout, the first round calls for 10 reps. If you don't have 3 to 5 strung together, then we can go ahead and do singles and maybe cut it down to 5 for that first round. Modifications. We'll start at the bottom, we'll work our way up, and then we'll go over the full muscle up, ring and bar. So for the simplest versions, let's just throw a burpee in there. We're not getting on top of the bar or on top of some rings. For the simplest version, we can do 10 burpees and 10 ring rows to sub for the 10 muscle ups. So don't bother doing a burpee and then a ring row and then a burpee and then a ring row. Too much setup time to get to the rings and all that. So let's just go with 10 burpees, chest and thighs on the ground. Hop up. You're gonna do 10 of those. Then we're going to the rings. 10 ring rows. That is the simplest option there. And then of course, if you have to modify the burpee using a box or using basically keeping your feet up or not putting your chest or your belly all the way on the ground, you can do that as well. Next up would be burpee pull-ups. So we're gonna find a bar that it should be just outside of your reach. Anytime that we do burpees to a target, for example, something you can't reach when your hands or when your feet are flat on the floor is good. You're gonna do a burpee, and then you're gonna go straight up. You're gonna ride that momentum from your big jump, try to get your chin over the bar or get it as close to being over the bar. If you're not quite there, so let's say you're bringing that bar to your forehead, I want you to hold for just a brief second and slowly lower yourself down. So that rep is gonna look like this. We're going to do 10 of those. So it's different than the burpees and ring rows. With the ring rows, I want you to do all the burpees and then all the ring rows. If you're doing burpee pull-ups, burpee pull-up, etc. for the 10 reps or however many it is in that round. Now, if you want to get yourself up on top of the bar or into a supported position on the rings, let's talk about the different drills that we can do or the modifications for those. We went over this not too long ago when we had ring muscle ups. The ring muscle up transition drill. We've got kind of a modified ring row into a modified dip. So we want to make sure that we have, if you need more detail, go back through the video or ask your coach. We want to make sure we've got our false grip. So we're really flexing out those forearms. We've got our modified ring row where our knees go forward. We're underneath those rings instead of back behind the rings. Pull the rings to your sternum. Get over into that dip position and using as little assistance as needed, go through kind of a jumping ring dip with a pause up at the top. So at full speed, it's going to look like this. It's up to you. Hold yourself accountable. Make it as hard as you can. So if maybe just the kip is the difficult part, keep your feet off the ground the whole time. If maybe the dip is the hardest part, go through the ring row, make it as difficult as possible, and then just give yourself that little bit of a lift to get up into that supported position on the rings, and then hold for a brief second up top, maybe even add in a 2 to 3 second negative. Make it hard, and it will make it a good workout for you. If you're just flying through it, going through the motions, then you're pretty much going to be wasting your time. If you're doing something like this, then you're wasting your time. So let's make it difficult. When you're doing these modifications, we need to make it hard on yourself. After that, really, the only other transition that we've got, or the only other modification that we've got would be, using some bands and all that kind of stuff. That's a whole lot of technique work. So if we're going from the ring muscle up transition drill and you're able to keep your feet off the ground the whole time, you can absolutely do strict ring muscle ups. Then it's a matter of, hey, just meet me here before or after class during open gym. We can work on your technique to get you up here on the rings for the full ring muscle up on the high rings. All right, now let's go to the bar. The first thing that we can do is the jumping bar muscle up. So it's going to be similar to that jumping pull up. We're going to ride the momentum that our legs are creating. We're really just going to try to jump through the roof. But the important thing to think about here, we talked about it with chest to bar. You want to make a lot of space in between your bar and your chest, or even your bar and your hips. And to the very last minute, we're pulling the bar into our belly button, into our hips. Last thing we want to do is do essentially a pull-up, be really close to the bar, then have an aggressive, almost painful turnover. But make sure there's a lot of space in between your chest and between your belly and that bar. Like I mentioned, we're going to ride a big, powerful jump up on top of the bar. Make sure we're going through a good arch into a good hollow. We're going to explode. It's going to look like this. So notice how I landed just south of my belly button. You don't want to pull yourself up really close to the bar. We don't want to be here. We want to think about pulling that bar down in front of us, very last minute, hit the brakes, land up on top. So I'll show you one more time. Now, if these are just way too easy for you, we can take some of the assistance out. We can have one foot hanging off the side of the box. It's going to make your arch and your hollow a little bit easier. So we're going to get into that arch. So we're having a little bit more difficult time because we've only got one leg to push off of, but our arch and our hollow is a little bit more natural. So again, we've got the one leg off to the side. Now, you can always go from a smaller box or something like that, but ideally for this drill, since we don't have the pulling strength, or we just maybe don't have the technique, you want that bar to be somewhere about forehead height until you've got the strength and the technique to move on to the next one, which I think y'all have seen Coach Annie all over Instagram trying this stuff out. She's trying to perfect her kip, so she's bringing a band. This, I want you guys to have the strength to get those bar muscle ups. So if you've done one in the past, or maybe you have one but you can't string them together, you have the strength, that's when we're bringing this in. If you can't do the jumping bar muscle ups, we've got no business coming over here to the band. You want to make sure that you've got the strength and control. Maybe you just need to work on your technique a little bit. Now when we're doing these, I want you to have both feet in the band. The reason being, when we're doing muscle ups, we need to make sure our kip is good. That means we've zipped everything up. Legs are together, especially as we're going from the arch into that hollow. Sometimes when we're in that arch position, when we're forward, our legs can separate. That's okay. Ideally, we want to keep everything nice and zipped up and feet together. On the way back into that hollow, absolutely feet need to be back together. That's going to help you transfer a lot of momentum from your feet, knees, into your hips. Hips are going to shoot your body up over top of the bar. So we're going to get up. Now this might take a couple seconds here to get your initial kip going, but the banded bar muscle ups look like this. So they're giving you just a little bit of a boost out of the bottom, and then of course you have that awkward transition off of the band. So those are some of the options to scale the bar and ring muscle up until you finally get all the way up on top of there. There you go. So do not be afraid when you see these type of things in a workout. Trust your trainers. We've got a ton of options. Even if you don't do any of this muscle up stuff, if getting up on top of the rings or on top of a pull-up bar is a little bit scary for you, okay, guess what? We've got the burpee pull-ups, we've got the burpees and ring rows. We've always got an option for you. Don't not come in just because you see a movement like this. We will have some sort of option for you. Have a great day, guys. See you later.